Hey, everybody. I wanted to touch on something real quick that I missed in the podcast that I did just yesterday. So, there's been a lot going around about the irregular shape of Israel Adesanya's right pectoral muscle, right? And if you look at it, it does kind of, something's definitely wrong with it. It's abnormal, okay? And if you scroll through Instagram, Twitter, any of the social media bullshit, right? It says a lot of people are suspecting it to be gyno or gynecomastia. Am I pronouncing that right? Probably not. Let me make sure I have it. Hold on. Gynecomastia. Gynecomastia, I think is the correct pronunciation. I had to look at my phone to make sure. Anyway, what it is basically like a swelling of the breast tissue due to hormonal imbalances, right? And anytime that this gets brought up and you're talking about a professional fighter, steroid implications are going to come into play because it could be what causes hormonal imbalances, right? Steroids, your testosterone goes up, got to try to supplement estrogen, things get out of whack, right? It gets fucked. So there's going to be no avoiding the steroid speculation around Israel Adesanya now unless he addresses what's going on, because the other assumption, guys, is right, that it could be like a torn pectoral muscle, but just the way he was acting, and I think somebody asked him about it at a press conference after the fight, and he seemed like kind of baffled by it. At the weigh-ins, when Costa gave him the white belt, he threw his hands up above his head, did the kind of crane kick thing. He didn't seem inhibited or injured at all, right? And if you look at certain pictures on his social media, it's very prominent. Like, I think there's one on September 15th where he's kind of off to the side and it looks pointed. And I've seen people defending it, saying that they haven't, or that his chest has always been weird. But I was looking at pictures and I've never felt more weird, guys, than going through Instagram and looking at all these pictures of a guy with the shirt off, like trying to look for, right? Like I'm trying to look for some kind of clues as to what's going on here, right? It felt very awkward. But you get down into like February and there are pictures of him and his chest appears to be pretty normal, right? But around like June or so, I think, listen to this fucking shit. I got a timeline, guys. I think around June or so is when the problem started to arise. Now, if I'm wrong about that, because somebody posted a picture and said, oh, his chest has always been weird. But to me, it just looked like his right shoulder was up a little bit higher, and that would elevate this side of your chest, right? So if I'm wrong on that, somebody please correct me. Like, and don't get me wrong, guys. I don't want this to be true. And a lot of you guys might be thinking, okay, like, he's not real bulky, though. He's skinny. Obviously, they're not working. But look at TJ Dillashaw and EPO, guys. One of the things about steroids is that if you can increase your endurance and your recovery time, you can train more. And I also think that there are certain things like, if you're taking something where your testosterone levels are getting elevated, I think it causes you to be more aggressive and more willing to take chances and fight, sort of, right? Which you could argue was a detriment, but I don't know. If you're getting all that fucking training in and you're able to recover and push yourself through camp more, it could be a huge difference maker, right? And the thing is I don't want it to be true. I'm an Israel Adesanya fan, okay? I want him to be clean, but I don't think you can just put it past anyone, right? Like, even if he's your favorite fighter, he's like, you're like, oh no, he's the nicest guy of all time. I don't think you can put it past anybody. And the way that I view kind of the fight against steroids, I work in IT, and it's very similar to the security battle against like hackers and stuff, right? You got this guy, he's got malicious intent, he's trying to break into your systems and implement all this bullshit with Trojan horse, blah, blah, blah. And security is constantly on the other end of that fighting to keep up, right? And sometimes there are security breaches. Okay, so even though USADA is being implemented and Adesanya is being tested, and again, I'm not accusing the guy because I don't fucking know anything. It could be a number of things. He could be on prescription medicine. He could have other shit going on. It might not even be gyno, but let's assume that it is, right? Like, if it is the case and it is gyno, then like I said, the steroid stuff is going to be warranted. The accusations, at least, in a way, are somewhat warranted, right? But going back to the IT thing, I think that the same kind of thing happens between people who are trying to get away with steroids and people who are trying to bust people taking steroids. Those two groups are always going to be combating. And it's not an impossibility that even though a fighter tested clean, there's some new, advanced, more sophisticated method of getting away with cheating. And maybe the steroids, like the people who are testing for these things, their testing methods just aren't as sophisticated as what the people are using who are cheating, if that makes sense. I know I worded it poorly, but you guys get my point, right? Like, there's this constant battle back and forth between the cheaters and the people who are trying to prevent the cheating. And sometimes the cheaters, they get a leg up. Now, that doesn't mean that the testing people won't catch it at some point, but there are gaps, guys, and there's these back and forths, and sometimes one of those groups gets an edge over the other one. Obviously, we root for the guys who are trying to prevent the cheating, but it can't be, you can never rule it out. And like I said, we just kind of have to wait for more info to come out on this, and if Israel Adesanya addresses it at all, maybe future testing will prove something. I don't know. But I don't want to believe it. I'm not accusing the guy because, like I said, it could be any number of things. It might not even be gyno, but if it is, you do have to start to speculate a little bit because, the case of the gyno is like there's 200,000 cases per year, and I got on a YouTube video and just started like watching some stuff about it. But if you read the comments, a lot of the people experiencing problems with it were like 11 to 15. So kids going through puberty, obviously their hormones are all out of whack and imbalanced and stuff, right? I don't know how common it is among 30-year-old men. So we're just going to have to see. A lot of people, it's been pointed out now, and it's going to be impossible to avoid kind of questioning what's going on. So we'll see. Let me guys know what you think down in the comments, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.